Greetings, everyone. It's the young old man here. Welcome to the Dragon's Den. I wanted to talk about driving today. Right? I'm a private contractor. I do courier work right now. I've been doing that for like the last 3 years now. So I like driving. I really do. Even with one good eye, I'm a really excellent driver. Like, I'm a driver. So one of the things I want to talk about is the distinction between people on the road driving vehicles, right? Just because you can operate a vehicle does not mean that you are a driver. Doesn't mean you can drive. It just means you've learned how to operate a vehicle, right? And that's my distinction about people on the road. You have vehicle operators and you have drivers. You have people who are close to being drivers, really good, you know, vehicle operators, but they're not drivers yet. Every driver is a vehicle operator, right? That's obvious. But not every vehicle operator is a driver. That's the distinction. That's the issue. And some people go from being a driver to being a vehicle operator, like people that get old. But I don't really think that if you're a driver, I think really if once a driver, always a driver. Like, my parents are getting up there in age, but my parents can still drive. So, and that's who taught me. So, but what's the big difference? Well, being a vehicle operator just means you know how to turn a car on. You know how to, you take a driver's test, right? You take the written driver's test. Everybody learns the rules enough for the driving to pass the driving test, right? Most of that stuff goes in and out. Nobody remembers any of that crap. But it's in there somewhere, right? But not consciously. And then, so everybody becomes a vehicle operator. Then your parents or somebody, your older brother or sister or whoever, teaches you how to drive a car. And for those who just who didn't have anybody and just got behind the wheel somehow and just had to teach themselves, I feel for you. Pardon me. Hey, you better not knock don't lock my light. See, I can't speak. I'm talking to my cat. Sugar, get away from my light. Because you keep knocking my lights down. Yo, I'm serious. No! Stop playing with my light. I'm recording on my phone. See, she playing around with my... Hey! Oh, okay. Hey! Get from over there. You're going to knock my light over. Stop. Get out of here. Get out of here. I'm not being mean to the cat, but I'm recording. I don't have a lot of time today. I'm making, like, this is me hustling, right? Finding the time and getting stuff done. Anyway, where was I? Driving, vehicle operating. Anyway. Oh yeah, I feel for people who actually have to learn by themselves. They don't have anybody to show them. Like, hopefully you get a friend or somebody to show you something. But anyway, and then you get on the road. Now, everybody starts out as a vehicle operator. Very few people start out as a driver, unless you have really excellent instructors and you watched your parents drive. And if you're a visual learner, a visual kinetic learner, which I am. I'm a really equal opportunity learner. I can learn visual, I can learn auditorily, I can learn kinetically. I'm kind of even on all fronts, right? But I'm rare. So watching my parents, I would watch them as they drive. I would feel the car as they drove, and obviously their instincts are theirs, but I would feel it. And that's the thing about drivers. I'm not gonna be jumping all over the place. Y'all know me by now. Anyway, like, a driver feels the vehicle. They know their vehicle. Even if they get into a brand new vehicle, they feel it out before they get open, and they feel it out pretty quickly because most vehicles are roughly the same overall. And I've driven little cars. My first car was a little car, right? I've driven big cars. I've driven vans. I've driven trucks, pickup trucks, box trucks, and big box trucks. I've driven a 20-foot box truck. And I think that's the biggest one you can drive without a CDL. And then after that, it's like semis. You got to get a freaking commercial driver's license. And so I could probably do that. I don't want to do that. I like driving. I don't like driving that much. And I think guys who do that, they don't like driving. They're good at it, probably, most likely. I've seen some bad semi drivers on the road, and I've seen some really good ones. I'll tell that story in a second. But anyway, back to the basics. Get your first driver's license. Everybody starts out as a vehicle operator. Depending on how you were taught and how well you learned your lessons, you know, you can become a pretty decent driver probably within 5 years. I think I was a good driver before then, but looking back now, yeah, I was still young. I had good reflexes, good instincts, but I wasn't a driver until I was like 5 years in at least. And now I got 20 plus years, so like I'm a master driver, you know. If I have not mastered anything, I've mastered driving. And that doesn't mean you never have any accidents or you never get pulled over by the cops. As a matter of fact, drivers probably get pulled over by the cops more often than not because they know how to navigate. So, like, the rules of the road apply to the lowest common denominator. Let me say that again. The rules of the road, speed limits and all of that stuff, it's all about public safety, right? But it's geared towards the lowest common denominator, the vehicle operator, the lowest level vehicle operator, right? Because drivers, what's his name? Not he's a singer. He was the lead man for Led Zeppelin for a while. I want to say Sam something. Not Sam Kinison. I'll get that in a minute. But he did a song. He's that old school rock, like straight rock and roller dude, right? He did a song called "I Can't Drive 55." That's the theme song for every driver alive. That shit's painful, especially on a freeway. There should be no reason any major interstate freeway. See, that's what I'm talking about. See my light shift? Yo, stop playing, yo. You're gonna knock over my light and I'm gonna have to hurt your feelings. I'm messing with my light, man. I look good. I gotta shave. Anyway, we're not talking about that. Hey, stop playing with my light. Now, driving 55. No major interstate freeway should have 55 miles per hour as the miles per hour. But again, I understand it because it's for the lowest common denominator. It's for those vehicle operators who don't like driving, scared of driving, but you know, we live in a driving society. They have no choice but to drive. But they need to stay their happy ass in the right lane. We're gonna get to that in a minute. But anyway. I like driving. And the courier work I do is not like super strenuous. So I still enjoy driving and being on the road. Let me tell you something right now. I enjoyed the hell out of the pandemic. I did. When everybody had to stay the fuck home. I like that there's still more people home. A lot more people got back on the road. Things are opening up. But I want all you motherfuckers to lock yourselves up back in your houses again. Us drivers who still had to drive during the pandemic, we loved that shit. Almost all of the vehicle operators were gone. And the ones that had to get out, there was so much room on the road we could just go around there slow, dumb, non-driving asses. Oh, it was bliss. I don't want another lockdown, but I want another lockdown. Because this is what I'm still doing. I'm still driving. I'm segueing my way into content and media. While I still got to drive right now to pay the bills, I want another pandemic. Because I'm on a contract. I'm a contractor driver, and then I'm on a regular contract delivering medical supplies. So I'm going to hospitals all over the place. So even during the pandemic, people still having surgeries. So I'm still delivering stuff. Not as much, but it's still happening. Wonderful. But yeah, driving. Vehicle operators. Now, main rule of the road, particularly freeway, right? I'm going to do a basic 4 lane. Because there's 3 lanes. You have some that's bigger than 4 lanes, like 5 lanes, like huge ones, like 95 further south and 10 in different places, you know. But let's do 4 lanes, right? You got the right lane, the middle right lane, middle left lane, left lane. Now, everybody should know right now, whether you're a vehicle operator or a driver, even if you're a new driver, whoever taught you how to drive should have told you, or whoever told you how to operate a vehicle. Right lane, that's speed limit. Left lane, fast lane. It's above the speed limit. See, let's get something straight right now. Remember I said that the rules of the road are made for the lowest common denominator, the vehicle operators. That's what the speed limit is for. And that's it. They're rules of the road. They're not laws. That's a whole nother topic I'm going to get into. I'm going to do more research on it and really get into that one in another video. But let's get something very clear. There are no traffic laws. They're traffic rules. It's what we all agree to as a society, and so we allow it to happen. But like, they're not laws. Law deals with criminality and citizenship and stuff like that's real stuff. Yes, we're a driving society now, so there needs to be rules because we're naturally walking creatures. None of us are born with wheels, right? And we have all the passing roads and walking to it, but we've developed into a very rolling machine culture. We're a driving culture. There's cars everywhere. If you knock my camera over, my light over again, I'm gonna lock you in the room upstairs. Sorry. We're a driving culture. So there are rules necessary for those who don't really have a feel for driving. They just need to operate a vehicle to get from place to place, right? The rules of the road are made for them. Those of us who actually have a feel for driving, have a natural ability to drive, or worked on a talent to drive, those rules don't apply outside of basic safety. And those of us who know our vehicles, we have good instincts. Drivers are watching everybody else on the road. They're paying attention to their vehicle and the other vehicles. Vehicle operators only pay attention to the vehicle that they're driving in, and they're probably scared of everything else on the road. I have a friend who has a friend or a cousin, I forget which, who, she's a vehicle operator. She's not a driver, right? And she's one of these people who doesn't really like driving, but of course, driving culture, you got to get places. So she doesn't like, because she doesn't like driving and being on the road, she doesn't like cars passing her on her left side. So guess what this Nimrod does? And there's a lot of people like this, I noticed. She goes all the way to the left lane so that people can't pass on the left. But what lane is the left lane? That's fast lane. You don't drive the speed limit in the fast lane. Right lane, speed limit. Middle right, speed limit +5. Middle left, +5 speed limit to +10 speed limit. Fast lane, +10 and up. Also, as a driver, when you're in this lane, when you see other drivers or even some retarded vehicle operators who think they know how to drive because they're on the straightaway or whatever, and they're zooming at you, if it's not a lot of traffic, as a driver, that's not an asshole. Because you have drivers who are assholes, but most of the assholes are vehicle operators. But anyway, you get out of the fucking lane, you get to the middle right so that they can fucking pass. And then if there's a slow asshole in front of you, you just get back over and keep going, right? There's rules to this. For the 3 lane is slow lane. Middle lane is between speed limit and 5 to 10 over. And fast lane is still, 5 to 10 over and above. Now, in most states, anything above 80, they consider reckless driving. Speed limits, rules, and the rules on the road, anything, if no matter what the speed limit is, if you're not, as long as you're doing 5 to 10 above the speed limit, cops usually don't pull you over. Again, it's the unwritten rule shit, right? So most rules across the country, right? Because I've driven on all across this country. If you're doing no more than 10 above whatever the posted speed limit is, most of the time, cops won't pull you over unless it's the end of the month and they got their quota shit to fill and they're one of those places. But if you're doing 10 over, so if it's 65 you're doing 75, they're not going to mess with you. If it's 70 you're doing 80, they're not really going to mess with you. But that's an iffy one because, like I said, most places 80 is considered reckless. Over 80 is considered reckless driving. Again, and that's for the lowest common denominator. If you're a real driver, especially if you have an open road on a freeway, like 85, 90s, like my foot rests between 80 and 85. Like that's a comfortable driving speed for me. I have excellent reflexes. It's not faster than I can see, and I'm comfortable driving that speed. And depending on the vehicle I'm in, man, if I got a nice vehicle, I coast. I was driving today. Probably shouldn't admit this. But today was a really good traffic day. I think that's why I wanted to do this video. Because today was a really good traffic day for me. Right? In the morning, commuting to work. Like, I got there so fast. Because the flow of traffic, except for one spot. Usually it's like two or three spots where it slows up. Interchanges. But except for one spot, I was... Like the fast lane, the whole fast lane for the first time in like a long time, the whole fast lane was coasting at like 80. Like almost the whole way down. I was like, this is a good day. And then the other thing that really sparked my mind to do this video today was on my way back after doing my deliveries and pickups. I was on the way back to the hub to drop off what I picked up. And I hit this really good patch of traffic. Like it wasn't busy. There were cars on the road, but like I had a patch of traffic, and then when it opened up, it was open. It was space. Like I call like walking in New York City. Me and my best friend, when we were younger, and then we would go downtown. Downtown Times Square particularly. And all the tourists and all the people down there, so it's always busy. But there's even busier places. There's busy places all over New York, and we weave in and out of foot traffic. I do the same thing when I'm driving. That's what happened today. I call it battle planning because we're taking in the information of everybody that's moving, looking at spots opening up, spots closing up, looking at the pattern of the way some people are walking. Now. It's not perfect, of course not, because you're dealing with live people who are prone to spontaneous shit. But in general, most people move relatively the same. If you have good enough reset reflexes, if you catch, somebody moving erratically or doing something that didn't seem like you had planned for, you can adjust like that if you do it right. I don't know any other way to explain it unless you already know how to do this. So I was battle planning, like opened up, there was traffic, but it wasn't packed. And it was a bunch of cars, but it was so spaced out. And again, it was still moving. Traffic was moving. Like even again, it was like in the morning. Everybody was just coasting today. It was a good Friday. I was surprised, but in my mind, I was thinking everybody was moving slow because everybody was coasting on like 70, 75, which is not normal, right? Not normal for me. So I noticed I was weaving in and out, but I was at like 85, 90. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why am I going this fast? Because I'm a driver. If I'm coasting, like especially because, I don't need to rush. I got my route. So I don't need to rush. My route is built so that I can get it done even if I'm driving 55 for the whole day. Anyway, I can't do that. But I usually am pretty chill when I'm on the road because I do it every day. So if I notice I'm like between 70s and 80 somewhere and it's coasting, I just stay coasting. But today it was just natural. I just got open because it was like, yo, it was open. Everybody was coasting. But I looked down and one time I was like, oh shit, I was 90. I was not, I was, went all the way over to the slow lane because it was wide open. I don't know why the slow lane be wide open, but everybody be over here backing shit up in the right lane. Right lane. Yeah. But anyway, good day for driving. I had a really fun day driving today. It was that was my inspiration for talking today. But that's why I wanted to talk about, because I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. This was actually a planned episode talking about driving for a long time. But anyway, but yeah, I'm a driver. My father's a driver. My mother's a driver. You know, I watched my father drive, you know, at different times in my life because we didn't have a car the whole time I was growing up. So when he did have a car, you know, I watched him drive, felt the car. My mother actually, but my father didn't physically teach me how to drive. My mother did. My mother taught me on a stick shift. She had a stick shift. I learned on stick shift. I love stick shift. It's just better. Automatic is cool. It's cute. Stick is better, but it's becoming obsolete. You know, unless you're, you know, gonna be a race car driver, you don't need to do that anymore. Like, I'm gonna teach my daughter to drive because, you know, it's necessary. But I really think, like, by the time she gets old enough to actually get on the road behind the wheel and actually drive a vehicle, automated vehicles are gonna be the norm. Like, she's not that far away from being old enough to drive, right? So, but I really think that automated vehicles are going to be normal by the time she gets on the road. But I don't, you know, no skill is wasted. No skill you learn to do is a wasted skill. So I want her to learn that. But yeah, so remember, in case you didn't know, and for those people who just hate people on the road, there's a reason, because they're not drivers. And having this knowledge may help you calm yourself. Have, you know, when you're behind the wheel and you're getting frustrated because people are doing stupid stuff on the road, you remind yourself, oh, they're vehicle operators. They're not drivers like me. And then you find a place of calm while you're behind the wheel and navigating the terror that the vehicle operators are creating on the fucking road. It works sometimes. Sometimes, like, drivers have road rage because there's a lot of vehicle operators and they're the ones who cause accidents. They're the ones who cause accidents, not drivers. That's one. And you have a lot of drivers. Just because somebody can drive fast doesn't mean they're a driver. You got vehicle operators who think they can drive and they can't, which is why they wreck themselves. And that's not to say I've never been in a wreck or I've never been in an accident. I have. But I'm outnumbered. There's a lot more vehicle operators than drivers on the road. Bound to happen no matter what. What else? So, no matter what, right lane and slow lane, do your speed limit. And don't do slower than the speed limit. Do the fucking speed limit. You're doing slower than the speed limit, get the fuck off the road. At least the freeway. Get off. Find a local route. Slow lane, speed limit. Right lane, fast lane. The middle lanes, no matter how many there are, incrementally gets faster as you go across, right? But this is the slow lane, all the way to the right, and all the way to the left is the fast lane, the fastest lane. Any main lanes you got in the middle. So if you're in a 2-lane road, freeway, guess what? I mean, 4 lanes, two going that way, 2 going this way, right? But if you got 2 lanes in your direction, right lane, slow lane, left lane's fast lane. It's not too many freeways with just 2 lanes. And some of them narrow to that sometimes, but you know, you get the intrastate freeways that go, you know, 2 lanes. The ones I really dislike is the one lane one. It was one lane. But sometimes those are fun because periodically they'll have passing lanes. You have the 2 lane traffic where it's one direction, opposite direction, right? And then when you have to, if you don't know the rules, if you don't remember the rules from your driving test, when it's a solid line, you don't go across it. When it's a dotted line, a staggered line, you can cross it for the 2 lane roads, right? The staggered line means you can pass. And there are signs that say passing allowed and then no passing. Vehicle operators who think they can drive, fuck that up and cause bad accidents. Drivers like myself, we gauge properly and we act accordingly. Never mess that up. But it can be fun. I like passing people. When I'm in the right vehicle, I love passing people on the 2 lanes. It's so fun. And it's usually like, small country road type things. So it's usually old people. It's like farmland or whatever. It's like old people, so you just go around. What I don't like is when you're in a fast lane and, you have open space. It's not a heavy traffic. There's some traffic or, and you're in a fast lane and you're coming down and there's somebody in front of you and they don't get out the way. Even though they have space and opportunity to get out the way. I find that very annoying. I understand if they're already going over the speed limit. If you're doing 10 over the speed limit in regular traffic, I'm not going to be mad that you didn't get out of my way. I'm just going to go around you. What I don't like and what irks me more than anything, and here's the other thing. Here's what assholes do. They're vehicle operators who are assholes, right? If you're in the fast lane, right, and there's a good enough space or nobody's in front of you or there's quite a few space, there's quite a bit of space between you and whatever car is in front of you, and somebody's behind you and you either see them come up onto you or they're riding you, if you're not doing at least 10 over the speed limit, you need to get over out of their way, right? But if the person doesn't really even ride you or they come up and they see you're not going to get out of the way, if they go around you, do not accelerate and try to block them from going in front of you. That is the most bitch ass asshole shit. Now, if someone's being an asshole behind you, or someone did something stupid, and then you wind up getting in front of them, and then they try that shit, yeah, block them all day. Fuck them. They shouldn't have did what they did. But like, if it's just regular traffic, and you see somebody coming, and they go around you, and they didn't really do anything, it's just they driving faster than you, don't pull that bullshit. That's bullshit competition shit that's inbred in our society. I don't know about other places. I'm talking about crappy ass America here. Like, we have competition built into so many things in our culture. It's like built into the fabric of our culture, this competition. And some of you goddamn vehicle operators take that shit on the road, and it's like, no, that competition shit, unless you're on a racetrack, there's no competition on the road. Stay your ass out the way. If someone's driving faster than you and they go around you, that's not a race. That you don't hit your damn accelerator to try to stop them from going. That happened to me once, and I was driving a company vehicle, and this bitch, and she was probably on the phone. Like, this is the thing, phones, modern. I'm going to a side. I don't know why car manufacturers don't build phone holders into the cars. And I know why. It's business. They're going to be taking business away from the phone companies that and the affiliated companies to the phone companies that make car phone holders or whatever. But like, really, it should just be built in the cars. It's 2021. Just build a fucking phone. Because like, nobody should be. It's like 2021. Nobody should be holding their phone while they're driving on the road. That irks me. If you can afford to have a car, you can afford to have a holder for your phone in the car. I know everybody uses their phone in the car now. Either you're navigating, you're using a map. I'm a courier. I have my map on all the time. Get a car holder. Get a phone holder for your car. So you see, and because the dumbasses They're holding their phone low down here. But you're moving at speed that way. And you're going to put your head down that way. Vehicle operators do not have the capacity, okay, to drive peripherally and pay attention to the phone. Even drivers don't have the best capacity, but we know how to do it in the safest way possible. But it's still not. Even me, I'm a driver. I got 20 plus years. I don't do that shit often, right? Because I got a holder. Mine broke. I got to get a new one. But I use the cup holder in the vehicle element because I'm like, I don't want to. I glance down. I know how to glance because I'm not. I don't text when I'm driving. And you know I got a Bluetooth in the vehicle, so if I get a phone call, boop, I can still talk. No holding the phone. I see people doing this on the road, and I see people doing this on the road. I'm in a van. I can look down in people's car. I see this shit all the time, especially when I'm going around people. The dumbasses who are in the fast lane. You can always tell when somebody's on their damn phone in the flow of traffic because all of a sudden it just slows up. There's no accident. There's no police. There's no tow trucks on the side of the road. There's nothing for rubberneckers to look at. So why is the traffic slowing down? Why is this car in front? And even if it's not full, you know, even if there's somebody in front of me, I can look down. I can already see from behind them because I'm looking from a van. But when I go around them, they like this. And naturally, you automatically slow down because your brain wants to protect your dumb ass. It automatically slows down because it knows it's not focused on the speed of, but even still, that's still dangerous. Especially when you're in a freeway. At the minimum, you're doing like 60, 65 while you look down at your phone. If you're in the fast lane, you slow all the way down to what your brain feels it safely can handle while your attention is on something else while you're moving at 60 something miles per hour going forward. I'll probably look up the statistics and add them in before I but like the number of people that drive distracted on their phones that get into accidents must be astronomical by now, and it's so unnecessary. Get a phone holder for your car. Motherfuckers just be like this, and you go around them, and I hate when motherfuckers. Oh, back to the lady, right? When you go around them. And then they see you going around them, and their instinct, they might have saw you in the rear view before they went into their phone, or they probably didn't notice you. But their peripheral vision is working even though they're on the phone. And I'm driving a van. I'm driving a white van. You can't not see me speeding past you on the side. And you got some assholes. That's what they are. They're bitch ass assholes who will accelerate so that you can't actually get in front of them. Even though they were the assholes who were driving distracted and slowed down so much that I felt the need to go around their dumbass. One lady tried this and it was moderate traffic. And on that particular day I was in a rush. I don't remember why. I'm usually not in a rush. Like I said, I have a route. They plan it out, so I have the day to carry my route out, so I don't have to rush. But I'm a driver. I like to move. I like to drive. So even I just like. Anyway, it was minor traffic. I had space. I'm in the van. I know the parameters of the map. Know how it moves. I had enough space, and there was traffic in the next lane, but there was enough. There was enough space in front of her, that was in front of me, and in the right lane, the right middle lane, for me to go around her. Now, because it wasn't super open, I wasn't looking at what she was doing. So I couldn't tell you if she was on her phone or not. I'm fairly certain she was, and I'll explain why in a minute. But as I'm passing her, just as I have enough clearance to get in front of her, not to cut her off, but clearance so she doesn't have to get cut off, I see her accelerate. So I hit my gas real quick, hit my turn signal, and get over. Now, because she hit her gas to try to block me, she had to slam her brakes to keep from hitting me. Sucks to suck, right? But I know she was on the phone because what did she do? I'm in a company vehicle. She calls the number on the van. I don't give a fuck. They called me like, what's going on? I explained to them what happened. They were like, because I have a reputation with this with my company. They know me. I don't get in trouble in advance. They know. So it's like, all right, whatever. She was a bitch. But don't do that. If someone's going around you, don't accelerate to block them. That's an ad. It's a bitch. It's a bitch move and it's an asshole move. And that's why I don't have. That's why I don't have a weapon when I drive. I don't have a firearm when I drive, cause I'll shoot somebody. I will. So I I hate bitch assness. Can't stand it, especially on the road. I can't stand bitch assness. One thing I do like, I noticed the last couple of years driving, is a lot of vehicle operators who really don't like being on the road, but you know, we're in car culture, so you have to drive. At first I thought it was fun. I saw a lot. I started seeing it a lot, and I realized, oh, it's just regular people putting, be patient, I'm a new driver, or rookie driver, bumper stickers on their cars. And I'm like, that's not a student driving car. I've seen those vehicles from driving schools or whatever. And I'm like, oh, you have people just putting that on their car so that they can just drive and not feel pressure from us drivers, right? And be left alone, which I think is a good idea. I think it's great. Now you have those vehicle operators who are not that considerate to let the rest of the world know that they suck at driving on the road. And you have those vehicle operators who think they're drivers and they're not. And those are usually the assholes. Anyway. But I like that, you know. Yeah. I think here's an idea. I'm probably gonna research it out because again, like I said, it's just an accepted social contract. The rule, traffic rules. They're not traffic laws. They're traffic rules. It's not law. So which means speeding tickets are really not. They're illegal. You know, all of the speed trap cameras and stuff, that's really illegal. It's not legal to do that shit. They started doing it and we accepted it, but it's not legal. And you have enough people, if you really do the research, because I did it a few years ago, if you do the research, there are people who know the law and know what real law is, and so they don't have a driver's license, they don't register their vehicles. They get speeding tickets and they get tickets all the time. So they have, you know, they don't register their vehicles, they don't have license plate. So they get tickets all the time, but they go into court, and they go into a real court, not traffic court. And they get all that shit tossed out because it's not legal. But you gotta know how to play the game. You gotta know what the real rules are, but you don't just go do that shit. So, you know. But here's the thing, since it's all made up crap anyway, I think there should be different classes of licenses. I know there are. I know the commercial driver's license, and then the regular driver's license. Like, I've driven all kinds of vehicles all over this country. I've driven small cars, medium cars, big cars, vans, box trucks, and 20-foot box trucks, because I was in the film business. So, you know, I've driven everything up to, you know, like a semi. I've driven everything up to, I think a 20 or 26 foot is the largest you can drive with a regular vehicle with a regular driver's license, vehicle operator's license. And I think most people get their basic vehicle operator's license. And if you're not going to be a commercial driver, you don't need, driving big trucks, big rigs, you don't need a commercial driver's license. But I think for regular, everyday drivers and passenger vehicles and travel conveyances, that's really what we're traveling. I'm not driving, I'm traveling, right? That's one of the plays on words that you can use in law to get over that shit. But anyway, that's another video. there should be the regular basic one that every vehicle operator gets, and then there should be a more specialized driver's license for us drivers, which means there should be a specialized driver's test. Oh, I wonder if Hollywood stunt drivers actually get a specialized driver's license saying they're Hollywood stunt drivers, and if like on their personal vehicles they get a specialized license plate saying they're special, they're a stunt driver. Because I think there should be a driver's license where you don't have to take a stunt driver's test, but like a more advanced driving test to say that you're a driver. You get a driver's license versus a vehicle operator's license. You get a real an advanced driver's license, and you get an advanced driver's license plate, so that if you're going above 80, and I think an advanced driver's license should allow you to go above 80, maybe up to 100. Because in America, yeah, there's some of us who can drive comfortably at 90, 100 miles per hour, open road, even in some little traffic. But because the culture is slower driving for the most part, even though it's advancing as far as culture, like I said today, had a really good drive. Like everything was coasting today. Everybody was on the road today. Everybody on the road today was coasting for the most part. And that's how traffic should really be. Like we've advanced as a culture, as a driving culture, we've advanced. Like when cars first came out, 55 was fast. And now 55 ain't fucking fast, especially with the kind of cars we have and the kind of reflex. We've evolved as a species, as a driving culture. 55 ain't fast. Like a lot of us coast at like 70, 75, like they used to coast at 55 fucking 50 something years ago or so. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, like doing 80, 90 ain't nothing. For a regular vehicle operator, yeah, that's dangerous. And the reason why going more than 100 in our culture is a problem is because there are so many more vehicle operators who don't drive well that become a danger when you get to those speeds, no matter what. If you have 50 vehicle operators on the road, a couple of drivers are going to have a problem no matter what. Because vehicle operators, they're not aware of their surroundings really. They're barely aware of the surroundings outside of their car. That's what makes them a vehicle operator. Just operate like here. I'm here, and I got to get from A to B, and I'm here. They're not looking at the traffic around them. They're not looking at the side. And that's the thing. Like a driver, they're taking all the drivers around them. They're taking in all of the signs as they pass them. Like, they're taking in the information, processing it, and acting accordingly. That's what a real driver does. Just like a martial artist, a master martial artist, they're always casing people. Like, for lack of a better term, it's like you're looking at who's in shape, who's deceptively not in shape, and who's in shape, who's not in shape, who's deceptively in shape, who's deceptively not in shape, how this person breathe, how people move, who you can take if something goes down, who you can take first. Like fighters, martial artists and fighters, we don't think this way maliciously. It's training, right? It's the same thing with driving. It's you get used to, and you're taking in information, you're processing it quickly, and driving accordingly. And I would think that a lot of martial artists are probably good drivers, because you work on reflexes and processing quick information, right? Anyway, I think the advanced driver's license should be like for us to drive from up to 95, right? So if you're driving between 80 and 95, and you have the advanced driver's license should come with an advanced license plate that's clearly obvious, so that cops know if you're going faster than 80 but not over 95, I would put it to 100, but just for basic safety, because you have vehicle operators who are the danger, not the drivers, right? And because we have such a broad culture and there's way more vehicle operators than drivers, they're the danger, because vehicle operators, they're tunnel vision. They want to get from point A to point B, and they don't pay attention to the information around them, which is what a driver does. They're taking in all the information, all of the cars that's in their vision, the signs, the road, the weather conditions. Like, we're processing all of that and driving accordingly. Vehicle operators just like, I need to get from here to here. This is how I need. So, and they're dangerous. And then vehicle operators are predictable because they're not thinking about other people on the road. They'll just do fucking random lane changes because they were, oh, I have to get to this exit, but they were holding up traffic in the fast lane in the first place, and now they just messed up all the lanes of traffic because they want to go. Whoop. I've seen that shit. It's psycho. No thought to anything, and so I think we need to have an advanced driver's license. Special driving test for advanced drivers, and to get that and to get the license, because again, reckless 80 going over 80 is considered reckless driving, but that's just for the lowest common denominator. That's for the vehicle operators who don't really like being on the road and they like driving. But for us who know how to drive, 80's fucking 80's what 55 was like 50 something years ago, right? We've evolved as a driving culture. 50 something years ago, 55 was 55 was, oh wow, that's exciting. 55 ain't shit now. Like, we've evolved as a driving culture, as a species that created driving and has driven more and more, with each generation being more and more comfortable with riding in the vehicle and going at speed. And in other cultures, other countries, speed limit. The fuck is that? So, it's like, but we have to have it because we have way more vehicle operators than drivers, and those are the dangerous people. So, but I think drivers should be allowed to have a special test for advanced drivers and get an advanced driver's license and an advanced license plate, so that if they're doing over 80, which is considered reckless but is not really reckless for a driver, and up to 95, right? Depending. I would say 100 personally. I could, between 80 and 100, I'm good. I cruise at like 80, 85. Like, my foot rests at like 80, 85. So anyway, but like, get an advanced driver's license, advanced license plate, so that a cop sees that if you're going over 80 but you're not doing over 95 and they see your license plate, they can't pull you over. It's like, fuck you. I know what I'm doing, right? I took the test. I know what I'm doing. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, like, drivers, we're taking the process of information like a martial artist. They case people, right? We assess people. We assess, as a martial artist, as a fighter, you assess people that are in your environment. And it's not malicious. It's just, that's what you're trained to do. You're trained to take in the information of the people around you and know if something pops off, who you going to take down first, what you going to do, and all that stupid stuff, right? Same thing on the road. A driver's paying attention to the road conditions. All of the other drivers within their purview, right? We got the mirrors, so we're looking at what's behind us as well as what's in front of us, on the sides of us, right? We're looking at the signs, right? We're looking at the road conditions, the weather conditions, and we got a phone maybe that's got the map that's guiding us, And drivers don't rely on just the navigation. They're also playing, like me personally, I don't rely on the navigation when I go places. I was driving before navigation, computer navigation. So you pay attention to the road, pay attention to the landmarks along the route, especially as a courier. Like, I'm going to go to the same places over and over. What if my phone breaks or my battery dies and I forgot my charger that day? I need to know how to get to where I'm going. And if it's someplace I've already been, I should know how to get there. For me personally, like, I know people who, and they're younger. I was on a film set once. It's a great film called Radium Girls. You should check it out. And I was a multi-hyphenate on that set, but I got hired as like a driver for the not the gaffers, for the grip. I was like the grip truck driver, and I was also like a partial gaffer, carpenter. I did a whole lot of shit on that film set. Behind the scenes photographs. Anyway, I had fun on that set. It was great. It was great. But there was another driver who was driving one of the other trucks, and he was a younger kid. I like him. He's not a bad kid. And I call people kid. If you're younger than me by 5 years, I'm gonna call you kid. I'm the young old man. Sorry. Just don't take it personal. I'm from New York and I'm older than you. Like, kid. And he was kid. I'm like I had like 20 years on him. He was in his early 20s and I was like about 40 then. Yeah. 41. I got into the film business late. Anyway, and he would, and I was, these kids, they grew up with the phone. I grew up before cell phones. He grew up with cell phones. So, he's using navigation. I wasn't using navigation. I didn't even, I think the navigation was built in the phone. I was using the map. And before we would have to get the set, like when we first started, this was like our first day on set, I mapped it. I did not use the navigation. I didn't really start using navigation that built into Google Maps. I don't even know when it started, but I didn't start using it until about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I would map where I needed to go using Google Maps, and I would look at the steps, know where I needed to turn, and then I would follow that to where I needed to go. And I would pay attention to the streets and what buildings, the landmarks, right? I'm a driver. I pay attention to the road. I pay attention to the route that I'm going. And so after the first day, after the second day, I knew how to get to that set. We were going to be on that set for the whole week. So I knew how to get to that set without having to use my phone. I think I even mapped out one other alternate route just in case there was something wrong. That's where my mind is because I'm a driver. But that kid, he never didn't use his navigation. He got lost on the second or third day because I forget what happened. But he got turned around and it was like, how didn't you didn't, so now I use the navigation. I'm like, what if the navigation doesn't work? Because I also grew up, while I got older and, navigation became, you went from the separate navigation, monitors or whatever to everyone having it on their phone now. Right? Before Google Maps, before Google Maps, there was the navigation, satellite joints. And I remember reading articles about dumbass vehicle operators, again, not drivers, vehicle operators, driving their vehicles into lakes and shit. And their excuse, because it's not a reason, because you're not a machine, so you're dumb and stupid, and it's an excuse. You drove your car, your vehicle, into a body of water because the navigation machine told you that's where the road was. That's one of the main reasons why I didn't use the navigation on my Google Maps for the longest time, because it was I'll map it out and I'll figure and I'll follow what I mapped out, and if there's any surprises, I'm paying attention to the road, not really the map, and I'll figure it out. And eventually I started using navigation, but navigation's gotten better with Google Maps. So, but again, I still have the old school mentality. I pay attention to my route and the landmarks and the roads that I'm turning on and off, and like most of the routes that I've been doing this contract that I'm on for a while now. So most of the hospitals I drive to, I know how to get there without my map. I only actually use my maps to check traffic now. I don't really need it to get to most of my places. And most of the places I know, they usually group them within the same area. So I know how to get from each one whenever I start. So I don't know how to go to them straight, but I know how to get to them from different ways. I only used my phone map. Cat. I only use the navigator on my phone now, the map on my phone now, to make sure, to see how traffic is, to see if I want to go alternate route. That's really the main reason. But the navigator's annoying sometimes. but they don't like nowadays. Google Maps, Google the company as a company, they did a really good job with the navigation. I don't think people are driving into lakes anymore, but dude, that shit was crazy. But a driver wouldn't drive into a lake if a computer told him to. A dumbass vehicle operator would. And granted, there's mostly older people, but there was some young people that were just stupid and drove into a lake because the machine said. Anyway. But these are the kind of people I'm on the road with. See what I'm saying? Vehicle operators just can't think behind the wheel. There's too many vehicle operators. The majority of people on the road are vehicle operators. And that's why there's so much traffic and that's why there's so many problems. Because too many vehicle operators, not enough drivers. And us drivers got to watch out for the vehicle operators while we're on the road. Stressful. It can be very stressful driving. If you're a scared vehicle operator, it seems like it's stressful and you have anxiety about driving. But like, imagine us having to watch out for your dumb ass because we're good at it, we don't have the anxiety of it. It's just fucking annoying. Get off the road. But yeah, that's the episode. Hopefully I'll piece this together and it makes some kind of sense because I done had a whole bunch of snafus today. Maybe some bloopers. But thanks for coming to the Dragon's Den. It's the young old man. Safe journey out there. Peace.